Hey friends, I'm Mel and welcome to my kitchen. Tonight we're diving into something I've never done before. Dump and go Crockpot freezer meals. These meals took me about 30 to 45 minutes to assemble. They're all budget friendly and you can easily double or even triple them, so you always got a delicious meal ready to go when you need it. And I'm taking you all the way through from start to finish so you can see these beautiful meals all cooked up, and I'm sharing every helpful tip and trick I've learned along the way. So let's get started. The most important part of Crockpot freezer meals is your freezer bags. You want a good freezer bag that's got a good double seal, and I always start, of course, by taking a marker and writing the date, the name of the recipe, and the cooking instructions on my bag. This one, for example, I put the balsamic chuck roast I'm making, low 6 to 8, high 4 to 6, and I said strain the juices and boil with additional balsamic to glaze. So I might forget that because y'all know I forget things sometimes, but you can do that with this one. This one I just added shred and add cooked pasta. You just definitely want to leave yourself notes that you will understand and your family in case you're not here and you are giving them instructions to put something in for dinner. I am actually making 3 different recipes today, but one of them I'm doubling. So the first thing I like to do if I'm doing a couple different recipes, I want to get all of my chopping out of the way. And I'm just making pretty big cuts out of these potatoes because they are going to be in the crock pot and you want them to hold up. I'm also going to be using some carrots today, but they're just baby carrots and I'm not going to do any chopping to them at all. My onion is going to do actually triple duty, so I'm going to save this little portion right here and dice it for a recipe, and then these 2 pieces right here, I'm going to cut them in bigger chunks. We're going to make a slow cooker balsamic beef roast, and I'm using half of one of these little packets. This is some stuff that makes beef bouillon. I'm going to put 1 cup of hot water in with that. Just stir it around to dissolve. Those little packets make 2 cups, but I only needed a cup, and I just conveniently had used half of one before. I'm going to add in some minced garlic. I'm going to put in 1/3 cup of balsamic vinegar, 1/2 cup of red wine vinegar, and 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Okay, let's set this aside. Look what I found. Chuck roasts were on sale. When I buy a big chuck roast, it takes us a while to get through that. Sometimes it'll go to waste if I can't get all the leftovers used up. So when I found this package and it actually has 2 smaller roasts in it, I thought this was perfect for me. I'm going to season this up with some pepper and some salt on each side. The comment has been made to me before that I don't cook large enough amounts. Well, you know, I cook like what is good for my family, and you should do the same. If you have a larger family, you can easily double or triple a recipe, but in my case, nowadays, I never know if it's just going to be me and Patrick, or 3 of us, or 6 of us. I never know. I bought these handy little guys on Amazon. They store flat. You can push these things in, fold these over, then they just open just like this. Then you just clip your bag right under there. You may have already seen these. If you don't have them, don't worry. You can always just take a picture. I used to do that all the time, like my tea pitcher, and I would put my bag in it. And if it didn't fit, I'd just clip it with some clothespins to the side. But I thought I would try these things out. I think I'm going to go in with the roast first in each bag. Next, I'm just going to take that onion, put them in each bag, break them apart a little bit. Then the potatoes, and this balsamic, it is probably going to turn these vegetables very dark, but you know what? I'm just taking a chance. I'm actually just taking a chance on this whole recipe. I've never made it before. How brave am I? Now I'm going to take some of these baby carrots, put some of those in each bag. I've been eyeing this recipe for a bit, but I made some French dip sandwiches a while back, and the recipe was really close to this, and we loved it. Now I'm going to take this sauce that we mixed up, all those liquids, and I'm dividing it evenly between each bag. I kind of felt like all my garlic was going to go to the bottom, so I just saved my spoon out, and I will just put it in there like that. I could have made a different recipe out of one of these roasts, but you know, kind of the whole name of the game in doing freezer meals is to save you time. So if I'm prepping one thing, let's just double it. Now we're just gonna slide our little bag out of here, zip it up for safekeeping. We don't want any accidents. And now I'm just gonna squish all this around before I let the air out. Once you get it all incorporated, you want to really squeeze out as much air as you can. Now, as far as freezing my freezer meals, I like to lay my bags out on a cookie sheet and stick this right into my deep freezer until they're good and frozen. And you really don't want to layer too many of these on top of one another while they're freezing, because you want to make sure that everything down in here has a chance to get nice and frozen. Now, once it's frozen solid, you can stack them up, you can put them up sideways, you can do them however you want to. But until everything gets frozen, I like to do them like this. It is about 9:30 in the morning. We've got a busy day. So, spraying that crock pot with some nonstick spray. I am pulling out this balsamic roast. I can't remember exactly the name of it right off the top of my head. We got some carrots and potatoes in here. This is still frozen. I just set it out in the sink for just a few minutes this morning. I am just gonna flip it over here, get the roast on the bottom, get the potatoes up over the top of it some, pop the top on it, and I'm gonna cook mine on high. And hopefully, if we want to eat early at maybe 3 o'clock, something like that, this will probably be done. But the crock pot is forgiving enough that if I have to let it go longer, that's fine too. It has been about 6 hours. It is smelling delicious and looking delicious. I have the little bit of liquid, the au jus, whatever you want to call it, that was in the bottom of my crock pot in this saucepan coming up to a boil. And I'm going to put a little more of this balsamic vinegar down in here. And I'm going to let it reduce and hopefully make a glaze out of this. This is cooked perfectly tender. I did pull some of the fat, out of it because it was a chuck roast. Let's give it a try. That is so good. Most of the time when I'm doing a chuck roast, I'm going to be making it with the brown gravy with all the packets. Oh, those potatoes are perfectly tender too. So this is really different. I love the balsamic vinegar taste in it. It's still very comforting and like home style, but it's got an elevation to the flavor, and I just love it. The carrots and the potatoes have taken on that same flavor. They're not mushy at all. They're just perfect. And number 1, I absolutely loved those little bag holders. Number 2, the balsamic vinegar did not turn my veggies dark and mushy. And number 3, this is Patrick's new favorite pot roast. He doesn't want me to make it with gravy anymore. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Valerie Hargett. She has a video that's went up tonight, and it's full of freezer meals as well. She's a good friend of mine. I met her right after I started posting videos on YouTube, and I fell in love with her. I love her as a person, and I love her channel. She does a wonderful, budget-friendly, family-friendly meals that will please everybody, and her baking is out of this world. She makes some of the prettiest cakes and desserts that I've ever seen, and I know they're tasty too. I've made a few of them myself. Valerie is a wife and mom of two, and one of those is a brand spanking new little addition. That's why me and Valerie decided to collaborate on a video full of freezer meals. We thought that'd be a wonderful way for her to get a jump on things, get a bunch of meals put back, and now that that new addition is here, she can kick back, relax, and enjoy this special family time. I'll have Valerie's video linked down in my description box. Be sure to go over and check it out when you're done here. Tell her that Mel sent you, and if you're here from Valerie's, thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great time, and I hope that you will come back often. Okay, let's be real. Crockpot chicken tacos don't take that much effort in the first place, but I had about 3 chicken breasts left in one of these big frozen bags, and I thought, let's just put it in something. So we're gonna make a freezer meal out of it. I'm taking 1 can of whole kernel super sweet corn. I did drain it, and I'm just gonna dump it right in. I've got a can of rinsed and drained black beans, dumping in. And I have about a cup of our favorite, like, chunky salsa. And I'm going to put just a little bit more because I know what my people like. You feel free to add green chilies, anything else that you can think of that your family likes to eat, Southwestern Tex-Mex style, put it in here. All recipes are totally customizable. And you're going to take about a tablespoon, more or less, to your taste of taco seasoning. I have some smaller packs that I really like, and I'm going to use that in here. And here comes that onion that I diced up earlier this morning. Look how beautiful that layers up. I almost hate to give it the old squeezy squeeze, but we're going to. Hopefully I didn't bust those beans up too bad in there. Squishing it around. Just gonna lay that out flat in the freezer. Got us another meal for another busy night. Now this one, you will want to make sure that you have some either tortilla chips to eat this with, or some soft or hard taco shells, and anything else that you guys like to do with your tacos. Or you can just use this to make quesadillas out of too. You know, it's just a good chickeny Tex-Mex thing. You can do anything with it. And while we're on the topic of the freezer, I just wanted to show you something that, you know, it may be helpful to you, how I've just freezed some different things, especially tomato products. I had about a cup left in that jar of salsa, but my kitchen, it's a real kitchen. It's used by a real family. And I actually have another jar of salsa in the fridge that somebody else had opened before we finished this one. So I thought, I'm just going to put that in a freezer bag and label it. I'm all the time needing a cup of salsa for a recipe. I can pull this out, thaw it out in some tepid water. We're good to go. Tomato paste is another thing that I've always frozen when I open a can of it, because you may just need like a tablespoon. I have started taking my tomato paste and like laying it out on some parchment paper on a pan and freezing it, and it's in like individual tablespoons. Now you could also do this in an ice cube tray, and my friend Angie, her channel is If the Creek Don't Rise, she just puts it flat in a bag like this, and she just breaks off what she needs. Genius, genius. I just thought those little ideas might help you save some time and, most importantly, some money. Another day, another Crockpot meal. Today, we're going to be cooking up the Southwestern chicken tacos. Again, I set this in the sink for just a couple minutes, but it is by no means thawed. And that is all there is to dinner tonight. And I am going to cook it on high for about 4 to 6 hours. It's been about 6 or 7 hours. Everything looks really good, and I'm going to do something a little bit different. Normally I just take my meat masher and just go crazy down in here shredding all my meat, but I don't want to get my beans and corn all destroyed, so I'm just going to take a couple of forks and really gently pull it apart. Then I'll mix my chicken and veggies together. I forgot how much I absolutely loved this particular chicken taco recipe. I love the black beans and the corn in it. I fixed mine up in just some little soft taco shells, and I have some of this filling frozen for quesadillas later. Give this video a big thumbs up if you are enjoying these Crockpot meals, especially if you like the freezer ones. Let me know in the comments. This was my first time doing this, and I can tell you I'm going to be doing some more, so if you want me to bring you along, let me know. Thanks to my latest obsession, I have one more chicken freezer meal. I'm going to use about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast. And here is the latest thing I'm loving. It's a Parmesan garlic sauce. It's Buffalo Wild Wings brand. Super delicious. And I'm going to put this entire 12-ounce bottle right down in here. I'm going to pour maybe half of this bottle full of milk. We're going to give that a good shake to make sure we get all this sauce out and pour that in. Now milk, you can freeze milk. I wouldn't suggest freezing milk and then drinking it, but this is just going to be in my freezer a short while. I'm telling you, it ain't going to last long, so it shouldn't separate too bad. And like I said, we're not drinking it, we're cooking with it. It should be fine. I've taken an 8-ounce block of cream cheese and cubed it into a little bit smaller pieces. We're going to put that in. And we're going to put in about 4 ounces, which is about a cup of Parmesan cheese. This bag is a cup and a half, so I'm going to save a little bit out of it to garnish the top with. When you finish off this meal, you will need 12 ounces of pasta. I have a pantry full of pasta, so I'm just going to leave this like it is. I've seen people bag their pasta up and keep it separately in the freezer with their meal. I've never done that. I don't know how pasta holds up in the freezer, but like I said, I've got a pantry full, so I'm not going to worry about that. And let's mix it up some. Okay, honestly, I should have halved this. This is a lot. It's a lot. I really like this sauce though, and I know this is going to be great. I will have to save this for a night when I know all the kids are going to be here, and I can even send them some leftovers for lunches. Now, I said I didn't have to worry about pasta. What I do have to worry about us eating is cheese. So what I'm going to do, I've sealed this up really well, and I am just going to staple it right here to the top, and I freeze cheese all the time. Anyhow, I'll have everything together. There's my instructions. We're set, guys. I had no doubt this garlic Parmesan would be the first one I pulled out. We love this one. I'm just going to take my cheese that I had stapled to it and put this aside in the refrigerator for later. Be sure you get that staple out of it. You don't want anybody to end up eating that. I do suggest, if you think of it the night before, to put this in the refrigerator to defrost. I have just had mine sitting out in the sink here for just a little bit because I didn't really think ahead. I'm going to spray that crock pot really good. Sometimes you got to cut your bag a little. It's 9:31 a.m. Popping this lid on, and I'm going to cook mine on high for probably 6 hours because it is frozen. We'll check on it in a bit. Okay, it's been 6.5 hours, and now I'm just going to take this little meat mashing tool and get my chicken shredded up. I've also got a nice big pot of water coming up to a boil over here on the stove, and I will be boiling up 12 ounces of pasta. After shredding up my chicken, and while the pasta was boiling over there, I did turn my crock pot down to low, and now I'm ready to add that drained pasta in, stir it all together, and it is ready to serve. Here this lovely plate is. I wish you guys could smell it. I've been smelling it all day in the crock pot, but it has been brought to my attention that y'all want to see me try my food. I always try it, but I try it behind the camera because, you know, that's just weird to me. But here we go. Per your request, I've got a big, yummy, yummy bite. Let's give it a try. Yes. Absolutely delicious. I love it. It's got so much flavor. That sauce is amazing. You can't go wrong if you put that sauce on anything. I'm just telling you. But this is so good. Cooked all day long in the crock pot. Delicious. You're going to love it. Look at all that delicious flavor in that sauce. Dare I say, this one is right up there, maybe a little bit ahead even, of the Olive Garden chicken pasta. Served it alongside a salad, which, you know, I love to throw a salad out with any meal, but especially a crock pot meal. If you've been here a while, you know that I am more of a cook what you need and freeze any extras to use later, because I hate to waste food, number one, but I've never really been a meal prepper. This has totally changed my game. I was so surprised how handy it was to have these meals to just yank out of the freezer and throw in the crock pot. I had a really overwhelming couple weeks, and this really helped me. I'm definitely going to be doing this again. Don't forget to check out Valerie's video down in the description box. Thank you guys so much for being here. I never take your time for granted. And until next Sunday, I send you love from my kitchen.